And welcome back to the program, Smooth 98.1 Drive Time Discussions. And we have special guests in the building as promised. If you want to get into a conversation with us, feel free to join at 0809 444 0981. We're also at Smooth 981 FM. We're streaming live on Twitter, but Fala's going to tell us exactly who's in the studio with us.
All right, this evening we have a digital marketer, or as I like to call him, a social media influencer. I know that what he does is way more than that. Chidi is in the studio, and of course, we also have someone who is an actor, a comedian, a content creator, definitely someone who is also very influential in the social media space as well. You know him as Frank Donga.
Hey.
I don't know how. You just do it regular, we do it small.
I don't know, however you want to do it.
Go at your own pace.
Oh, wow.
So we've been talking about social media clout chasing, or clout chasing generally, and we've tried to define it based on what Snoop Dogg said. How I said he has more experience.
He does. That's why he would be needing to define it. Someone who has a regular issue with something would need to define it,
what
right?
it is, right?
Exactly. And it seems he has quite a few.
Yeah, definitely. And recently, a lot of people have been, any little thing you do on social media, like I was saying off the microphone, that sometimes you're even afraid of doing something, especially if you have some kind of following. People say, oh, you're chasing clouds, So what exactly is cloud chasing? And I'm asking Chidi and Frank, because you guys are content creators. You do things sometimes for content, especially you, Frank. I mean, I remember the first time people really got to know, the character of Frank Donga. You used to be a broadcaster, and then people got to see you through some of those funny interviews that you did, and then it became a thing, and then you're in Nollywood. If you had started then, if you had been doing that now, maybe they would say, oh, he's just trying to get attention, And then you are a digital marketer. If you're trying to sell a product or you're trying to sell a brand, sometimes you create certain situations to push whatever it is you're selling. Yeah. So isn't that cloud chasing? How is it bad?
Do you wanna go first?
Okay,
Yeah,
if you insist. Well, like any modern vocabulary, things are bound to be dynamic. It's the 21st century. Even the meaning of words we used to know ain't no longer the same meaning.
Yeah, true.
Family radio, I guess. So we're gonna put what kind of words we say. But a couple of examples that certain words, certain names of fruits, you can't just throw them around.
True.
You know what I'm talking about. She does. She does. We all know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not even safe to just mention the whole healthy food item of fruits.
And plants.
It's a different world.
Using emojis or sending fruits now, it's not a problem. You need to really watch your fingers and what you tweet these days. So, so the definition itself will be dynamic. But from where I stand and what I do, I would simply say there's a little bit of a positive use to it with what I do. Okay. But overall, you could want to say cloud chasing is generally getting some kind of attention. Now, whether you really do need that attention or it means to an end,
it's a different
topic. But yeah, because sometimes even when I want to throw out this kit, and it's been a few days since I was active on Instagram or Twitter, sometimes I do a precursor that I just generally create something. Nothing offensive, just in line with my work, just throw it out there, just to get the timelines active, just like, when you want to cook, you just to get the
ingredients.
Juices flowing.
Thank you. You have to get the juice following them, bam, throw in the big ingredient, like, whoa, okay, now, you don't want to just drop it on. That's the most positive thing I can think about it. The other side of the scale, I'll leave that to you, sir. On the influencer side. We did things.
Our influencers.
Influencer.
So first of all, I'm a retired influencer.
Retired.
This is not a shit to those who are still influencers. I'm a retired influencer until I can create content like.
You're transitioning.
Yeah, so I'm transitioning to a point where I'm trying to evolve. I feel like influencing has changed.
Okay.
We have to be deliberate. We have to be intentional about the kind of content we put out for us to call ourselves influencers. I'd recommend that we niche as well. So I'm trying to find that niche. Okay. So until I find it, I'm a retired influencer. Now that is out of the way. Like he said, there's plenty of positives. I mean, I said it earlier. Clout in itself is not a bad thing. Be intentional about it. Know what it is you're chasing that clout for, and do it. Don't complain about other people chasing clout. People are chasing this clout and they're profiting off it. As far as you're not doing anything nefarious, as far as you're not putting other people down, as far as you're not being incredibly stupid, I feel like you can chase that clout.
Okay.
I totally agree. Like, if you're gonna do it with your chest.
Yes.
So all this one that you're like, oh, they're gonna call me. As soon as you get that feeling, do it. Because guess what? Those people who are actually getting the attention from clout chasing are doing. They don't have those voices in the back of their head telling them to bring it, reel it in. That's the thing. We're all on social media for attention. Let's not act like, oh,
in the end, really.
Everyone is a bit of a narcissist.
Padlock your account.
Yeah. Exactly. Everyone is there to show their different shades of narcissism. If you want to be up there with the ones with the big numbers, you better be a full-on psychotic narcissist. Otherwise, you're not going to cut through the noise, because there's so many, like, not even clout chasing. There's just so many people posting things. There's so much information going on in general that it does seem to be the more shocking or celebrity driven that the clout chasey ones that cut through. So if you're going to be a clout chaser, do it with your chest. If you're not, then we understand. But you gotta stick with it. And I think you should. Why not chase clout now? That's what we are putting the media for.
Which brings me to the next question about where do you draw the line?
Good clout.
At what point? Where is good clout? And where does
when it doesn't
make
you would have to make that personal decision. If you would see something on your own timeline that makes you want to roll your eyes, maybe you shouldn't. Let that be your barrier. Like, if you can stomach it, then do it. But if you yourself can't take it when you see it on someone's timeline, don't do it.
What do you think?
So basically, the limit, according to you, the limit is what you can take.
Yes.
So if you'd asked me this question last year, I'd have given you a very straight answer.
Okay.
But I've been humbled. I think I've been humbled by social media.
What happened?
One name, Naira Marley.
Oh,
inside life. What happened?
One name. So from this guy, I learned that the dynamics of social media, they are not predictable. You can be the most obscene, vulgar person. People will consider it clout chasing. But at the end of the day, you'll be the hottest artist.
Yeah, true.
Nigeria.
EFCC could come and wrap you and your homeboy up on your birthday, and you could. Bad news sometimes turns into good news, and it works for you.
I still don't understand when it comes to this Naira Marley phenomenon. Honestly, I still don't understand it. I've read a lot of people, people writing articles, people are almost writing PhD theses on the matter. I haven't read yours. Because the confusing part is, we do know that, okay, so this person is an entertainer, and then we expect that there's a certain degree of public trust. And then I think some of us grew up old school to believe that, okay, so when an entertainer who's supposed to be a role model, is linked with certain things, brands will drop him,
But his brand is
what
that,
it looks like.
His brand is
as
that
soon as
style.
he got arrested for alleged fraud, as soon as
but that's his brand.
the
now.
last case was on car theft, right?
Yeah.
That we talked about.
But
the brand got bigger.
the thing about that is, if your brand is already on point, of course it can only take you up. If he was someone who was from the church and he was doing gospel music and they picked him up, I don't think it would have had the same effect. But his entire bad news is also, there's no such thing as bad publicity
anymore.
But what I'm saying is his entire brand is this wobistic lifestyle of being badly behaved, doing all sorts of rubbish. So it all plays into it.
It's on brand. What do you think?
Someone like remember that what was that girl that got caught up with the pastor and she had the pink hair? And she was, now that's clout chasing. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. She came out. She said that she had relationship with this pastor. What's his name?
The one
she
that,
had issues. She had something with Apostle Suleiman.
I'm trying to remember her name.
No one remembers her name, but we remember her, right? Because she was chasing clout at the time. Whether or not that really happened, we don't know. But she had the pink hair. She had the press release, and she went from someone that no one knew to someone that we all knew.
But again,
and then she now released a music video and all of that.
No kidding.
Yeah, you didn't see
I
that?
missed that.
Oh man, you didn't follow the clout.
That's the thing now, though. So if you're talking, by the way, shout out to all the people on Twitter saying I'm speaking English. Bros, make us say my market. now,
Stephanie.
so
Stephanie. Yes.
No, there's a surname to it. That's surname.
Otobo.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one. That's
See,
the
we
one.
remember, and that's what the clout chasing got
but
her.
now I think the limit, you're talking about limits and drawing the line. When it comes to you
destroying someone's life.
mudslinging and destroying someone's career,
Mudslinging.
yeah, and that becomes a problem because it's actually a criminal offense, or is it a civil offense right now? It's a offense.
It's
slander.
It's offense.
Slander.
You can end up in court or jail, or pay a heavy fine for that.
Exactly.
I mean, this happens every day. I mean, I'm not cool with clout chasing as long as that red line is not crossed, where you intentionally destroy someone or you throw someone so badly that they begin to have psychological or emotional issues.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to try as much as possible not to be very direct, but a certain gentleman in the music industry, proposed to his long-term girlfriend, after a couple of, uncommon episodes of, children. But then he was obviously trying to get serious with this lady.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Now my time.
Hey, it's cold.
This
It's
just
Now my
cold.
time.
Do you want Baba Blue?
Oh yes, please.
So good. Time to leave that.
I see what you did
Still
there.
on still. I seen. Okay. All right. So anyway, so this gentleman, had a baby and widely publicized. Was also on social media, but all of a sudden, these two gentle ladies, came up and said,
He got us pregnant.
Yeah, like, not even that he had a thing to do with my sister.
Wasn't it his assistant?
Yeah. No, it wasn't the assistant. It was the
was him
the guy
now.
himself. They said he got one of them pregnant. He's not ready to take responsibility. The thing when he didn't take it, the gentleman in question didn't take it. Didn't find it funny. He was already threatening lawsuit and all that, only for them to make a 180 degrees turn. No, that's a 360. Right?
It's
360.
180.
It's
Whiplash.
180.
180.
So I'm like, no, now play with you, now joke with you, now play with joke. And you just joke with somebody's emotional condition.
Exactly.
How would you feel if you had a baby with your long-term boyfriend or husband, and then all of a sudden you start hearing news?
Yeah.
So that's where the issue is, because now for me, clout chasing, as long as you don't become emotionally dependent on it, you can be a psychopath where the only thing that gives you joy is seeing people suffer and mudslinging their image and character. Oh my God, that's where the problem for me. I think if you can't be emotionally balanced, if you can't find pleasure, except you tell a lie,
or you project yourself somehow,
or you project yourself in such a way that if it's all for the fun of it and people realize it's all for the fun of it, I mean, maybe it's like you say, but again, like I say, 21st century, a lot of vocabularies are dynamic. Words are no longer what we think they are. 5 years from now, this definition might change again.
A friend of mine used to say that, may we all be as happy as we pretend to be on Instagram.
Yo, for real.
Because, recently, I think just before we go on break, I'll tell the story, then we'll come back and then we'll react to it. The famous case about, the popular, somebody who got a car gift. And people go as far as making videos. Congratulations, the surprise car. And then
some of them need diaries rather than
it turns out, this is just, why do we go this far?
attention seeking. Woo! You took it there. We'll be right back. Point one, drive time discussions. We've got Chidi, Frank Donga, myself, and Fala in the studio. If you want to join in on the conversation, feel free to. 0809 444-0981 is the number to message. Please don't call. And we're also streaming live on Twitter at Smooth981FM. All right. Got this message in from, hey, you didn't leave your
Ladele Johnson.
Ladele Johnson, yes. Says, hi, how are Fala, Chidi, and Frank. Happy New Year to you all. You guys look good on the live stream. Why, thank you.
Hey.
To the topic, how easy is it to draw the line? Because people have varying thresholds for banter. And it's easy for us to get carried away and forget that these things that happen online have adverse effects on people's lives and how they react to daily issues. God help us. Yeah. Thank you for that one.
Honestly, it's very, very important for people to realize that, especially on Twitter. Sometimes, I remember when I newly joined Twitter, it was just an outlet that, we just had fun and we just met people. I've made great friends. I've made a lot of great connections. But now, it looks like
Troll paradise?
Troll paradise. And then you never know what you can say that somebody is going to use against you. You never know what you can say that some random person just feels like, oh, this person. Sometimes I feel like they look at your follower count and they see that, oh, this person can, I can draw attention to myself if I attack this person. So they bait you with deliberate, very toxic things. And then want you to respond, so you draw attention to them. You know, so this is where this issue of how it affects people's lives and mental health matters. Because when you come out there and, you know, you throw maybe a rape accusation, you throw any kind of accusation, and then it becomes a thing. And next, before you know it, you have damaged someone's reputation. Even if you come out with an apology later.
Yeah. Because once it's been broken up out of the egg, you can't put it back in the eggshells.
How many people do you want to apologize to? And you know how digital media is. So someone sees it on Twitter, next thing it's a WhatsApp broadcast, next thing is a Facebook thing.
And you know you
next
can't pull those things down.
You can pull it down.
Have you experienced that before?
Well, personally, no, because everything I have been dragged with or dragged for on social media, I have stood on it. Like, I said it, and I said it.
Said it on my chest.
That's how you have to do it.
Like they say, some random just I don't know what he was on. Like, he just found a nice day after God knows what has gone down, and he said, "Yo, don't let any of this creative people deceive you or celebs out there deceive you. You know, they're that creative because they take a good dose of their joint and so do your thing."
Wow.
And especially people like Frank Nunga.
No.
So like, I mean, first of all, I do family grade comedy. I'm proud of that. I say that every time. So kids meaning from age 3, 4, as young as that.
Okay.
With videos, I'm very conscious of that. And so profanity, illicit stuff and all that. At first I was gonna let it go. But I thought, okay, maybe this dude just wants some clout. So I checked his timeline out. Nothing too out of the ordinary. He just looked like somebody that really liked his green herbs and probably had too much of it. Yeah, I won't exactly say I'm poor on words myself.
So you give it back?
I won't say I savage him. Just kind of like put him on the right track,
Yeah.
Like, a little bit of home training.
A little bit of home training, yes.
For every blast, I had to be corresponding. All I did was, yo, kids, don't forget that what your mom told you. This is like, you don't do illicit stuff. And then, they kind of opened the door. People were like, yo, dude, where did you come up with this? And I just left him for his friends to take care of him.
To devour him.
They did a nice job of taking care of him. But again, that probably he wanted something. But I was in a good mental state. I was having fun with his bands. Then he went back and forth a couple of times. Then later, we all just laughed over it. And like, okay, I'm sorry, bro. So I just kind of.
Oh, that kind of thing could have been more damaging.
That's the other side of that.
Imagine there's some medical brand thing looking forward to, like, okay, this guy, he's keeping it clean, keeping it real. Yeah, he looks like a good role model for that kind of stuff. Like, whoa, like, dude, where am I going to start cleaning up from? So imagine people that have lost their brands, their livelihood to stuff like that. If it's just a healthy banter and nobody's getting hurt and all that, and you can defend it, because look, libel is real. Yeah. One of the reasons why I didn't really support that hate speech bill thing, but because look, there are already laws.
Yes.
You can be sued for libel and what's that?
Defamation. Yes.
So that's why people need to be careful about that.
To really, really be careful.
Oh, wow. 0809 444 0981. Send in your message. Sorry, Fala, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. Do send in your messages. I was going to ask, what are the healthy ways, that we can engage social media? And then, in the event that a troll comes for you or you're getting dragged, how do you handle it? You are a strategist. I'm sure that in the course of your job, maybe working for a client, you've had to go into crisis control. Yeah. So how do we handle it?
The 1, 2, 3 step book for when someone tries to bait you.
So it depends. It depends on a lot of things. I was going to add, first of all, we should separate clout chasing from bullying.
Okay.
Bullying is a different thing entirely. If you're bullying people,
and trolling,
let's not call it clout chasing. And
trolling
it's part of bullying.
Trolling and bullying are cousins. Yeah.
So if you're doing it, even if it is you're chasing clout, it's like you're trying to make money and then you're doing something criminal. Chasing money is good. Chasing money can be bad. And then doing it the criminal way is definitely off. So crisis management, it really depends on what that crisis is.
Okay.
Is it what they're accusing you of? Is it true? Can you own it? Can you acknowledge? Can you apologize?
Yeah, so take for instance, they're accusing you of something that is true, but you were hoping to keep it under the carpet. And then what do?
It's bigger.
Do you admit it? Do you respond to the person and say you're lying? Stop saying these stuff about me? Do you ignore it? Or do you say, okay, yes, I did it, and then watch your reputation fall? Which is the way?
Again, it really depends on what it is. If for example somebody, if for example somebody says, I raped someone.
Why you have with this next thing?
No, so that's like the
You
biggest.
have to know.
On social media,
I
it's
don't
like
like
the
this
biggest.
example.
It's the biggest
Okay, don't
thing
like the
that can
example.
Not
happen.
for you. You're the one that's saying it. I don't like it for no.
For me, okay,
Yes.
fine.
Your
Okay.
brand.
If somebody
Yeah.
says, okay, yeah, this has happened a couple of times.
Yeah.
People say I collect money for to talk about politics and all.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. There we go.
The last time I got money from politics was in 2014. Yeah. I'm a very vocal person on social media. If I'm passionate about something, I talk about it.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, I mean, people have accused me of that. There are two things. I either come out straight and tell you this is false. If you accuse me, if you say it directly, we'll go to court. It's either that, or if I look at this person and I feel like this person is just trying to get my attention, trying to get a pound of flesh, it's something I can avoid. I just let it go.
Do you ever admit though? Like, did you go on there and be like, "Yeah, I collected that money back in 2014"?
Oh yeah, I did. I wrote the full blog about it.
Okay.
Okay.
It wasn't even direct.
Whatever
it
you
was,
But that
do,
was
do
your
it
job,
with
though.
your
But you
time.
do
That
it-
wasn't criminal.
yeah.
That was in line with your
at
job.
all. It wasn't criminal.
Yeah,
It
but it was
wasn't-
something personal, like something went down in your past, and not really criminal, but you just preferred, like I was like, let's keep it under wraps.
Yeah, maybe
Nobody
you
needs to-
absconded from
Nobody
your
needs
last
to
job
know.
with your business partner's money and the person
Or maybe your
his
business partners.
wife.
You said that.
I've been trying to look for a criminal. thing
Yeah,
I've
you
done in
said
the
that.
past.
Something really.
You know,
Okay, maybe it's,
I don't know, really.
so maybe it's an old tweet.
Uh,
We made fat
Yes.
jokes. We made
Yeah, maybe you made a
short people
homophobic
jokes.
joke.
Yeah, homophobic jokes.
Yeah.
I've said it several times. I've said nonsense in the past, but I've grown. I've
so
evolved.
do you apologize Kevin
yeah.
Hart style or do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
not?
So I did it a long time ago. Like I did it proactively. Like one day, if you
Just
guys
in
gonna
case.
come attack me.
Yeah.
Yes.
But do you continue to apologize for because
Nope,
you know
nope,
once
I've done it. I've done it.
very Kevin Hart. Okay,
I've
I get
done
it.
it. I've done it. I'm not doing it again.
Okay,
Except it's
okay.
specific. Somebody points out the specific thing I did not remember to apologize for, and I've changed and I've moved on.
But if you've apologized
sorry, I
once,
said this,
you let
said
it
it.
go.
and that's it.
Well, this might help
Okay.
somebody. I don't know who would probably respond to this that. But my approach is a little bit different, though.
Okay.
For something really personal that's not criminal, maybe just some kind of social. Yeah, people look down on you because oh, look at you. You're so used to you do stuff like that, and you're not proud of it, and you want to keep it just out of the radar and out of the people's faces. If there's a receipt for it, there's a different approach. You ask me. If I was your crisis manager. If there's no receipt, by that I mean if there's evidence,
Proof.
Yeah.
if there's proof. My first thing to tell you be ignore it if there's no proof.
Yeah.
If it happened, but
If
there's
you're
no proof.
sure.
But there's no
So,
proof and there's
If
no
you're
that
sure
is-
there's no proof.
And that's another thing. You guys are quite active on. I think that's why I don't like Twitter. You guys are quite active on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
I find Twitter to be the people who will always respond to you. Like if you give it to them, they'll give it back to
Yeah.
you. But then there's a group of us who, I don't care. You can be knocking. You can be shouting at me. I will blank you out. I don't care what you're saying.
I'm telling you.
So I don't. That's why I was asking which is it better to do, because my approach is always to be like, look at that crazy person, ignore. When you're done and you're tired, then we can get back to it. But the simple fact that I'm not engaging with you just shows you that I don't engage with crazy. So is it better to, which one is better to do?
60% of the time, I would
I
say.
think that-
Because I never engage with crazy.
95%.
If
Me,
you ask me,
95%.
Even though I have a
don't.
quick
For you,
mouth.
95.
Yeah.
You
For
don't
me,
engage as
think
well.
I don't.
Okay, so that's
I try
a good
to
thing to
measure.
do.
I try to measure the situation
Yeah.
because sometimes your reputation is at stake. So by being quiet, it is assumed that you
It's
did
true.
it. It's true.
Okay.
You understand? So if you come at me and you say, "Oh, I remember a few years ago, I was working for a different station then, and then." Excuse me, there was this whole argument about payola and how that some presenters were collecting money.
That's always a big one.
You know, to play music. You understand? And then, people were dropping names of presenters here and there and all of that and all of that. And there was a particular random upcoming artist then, who came to my timeline and said, "Oh, you're one of them."
Aye.
Wow. On a route.
And I was going to ignore, really, because I felt like, people know me in the industry. You cannot, you know who I am. So I felt like, well, those who know. But then, this dude was really drumming up, like he was
Attention.
beating the drums of war, like he was going to start a thing.
Wow.
So I had to shut it down.
That makes sense.
So I engaged on that one and shut it down. And because of that one statement, I remember very well that year, a lot of people started coming up online and shutting him down, like, hey, we know this
Program, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to round up this conversation here. Don't feel free to join us 0809 444 0981. Streaming live on Twitter at Smooth981FM. And we've got Frank Donga and Chitty with us, and we're still talking clout chasing versus bullying versus trolling versus when you respond to clapping back. That's the word. Versus bass boos and all those things. So
yeah. I mean, this is my question to Chidi now. How does clout chasing affect influencer marketing? Because we do know that, I mean, these days people introduce themselves as an influencer. I mean, it's a job description now, which I always think is weird, but you know, it is what it is. People get paid for these things. So there are people who are actively wanting to be influencers. I've had people come to me like, oh, how did you grow your, you know, how do you have these numbers? I'm like, I don't know.
Organically.
It just happened.
Personality.
You know, and people really want it. You know, so they ask you, how do you do it? Because they want the numbers, so that it's a means to an end, so that the numbers can then generate income. So at what point do does clout chasing cross into, you know, building up an audience to become an influencer or a marketer?
First, you know how social media democratized publishing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of having to go to radio, newspapers,
editors,
TV, to
we are now the editors, journalists.
Everybody is, you know,
citizen journalism.
That same way, clout chasing is democratizing influencer marketing. Nobody is a career. Nobody owns. There's no school for it. Nobody owns
no
a degree.
Certain celebrity. You can be anywhere.
Anybody can be it.
True.
So if you can clout chase your way to the point where brands come to you and say, "Bros, come market for us," do it, fam.
Wow.
Do it. So, and again, I insist. I personally, the kind of brand I've built for myself, if I can call myself a brand, is one where I will not clout chase. I will not. I will not clout chase.
But you have the numbers already.
That's
you
the
don't
point.
need
Which is why I'm saying I recognize my privilege.
Yeah.
I know not everybody has that privilege. So if you have to do what you have, growing followers, right? If you see the barrier to entry on social media is really, really hard.
If
you come in now, you're like at the doldrums. It's like you can't rise until you do something
viral,
ridiculous, something that can go viral before you can actually add followers. And since we know you can't bottle virality, you keep trying.
It's try.
Yeah. Look at all the comedians who are popular. They kept trying. They kept doing. They kept trying. There's this guy who lip syncs. It took just one video. He lip syncs other people. It took just one video for him to become popular.
Oh, the reenactments.
I don't know what I've forgotten his name.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's Lasisi. He's been doing that thing he was doing on what's it called, WhatsApp,
hilarious.
and then today look away. So the point is, be consistent in that chase for class. It's not about people have tried to make it derogatory. It's really not about it. As far as you're not stupid, as far as you're not disgracing your family. I mean,
like, yo, how much is this pizza? And just while you're getting pizza, okay, can I see what it looks like? And they just run off with your pizza. How much is that?
No, that one doesn't like
the guy who does pranks, right?
Yeah, but he's actually, I think, a singer.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that thing went really viral. I got a lot of Christians.
That's a smart way to get yourself.
But then he started getting into trouble because he walked into a jewelry store, just grab it like a $90,000 resource jewelry and run off with it and stuff.
See, he said something stupid. What were those? What was the criteria for clout chasing?
Don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid. Don't
commit crime.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he aired on
the
that
only
one.
young hippie folks that clout chase. What about politicians?
Especially when they tumble out of cars and wear neck braces
and eat corn on the road,
sing and dance,
and the one that fry a cara.
You guys are going
you know, so you come to the wrong place. We can't keep our mouths closed. Things just tumbling out.
That's it.
I'm only asking questions here,
no, but seriously, because if you really look at it, that is some form of clout chasing.
Yeah.
What about
Attention
government
seeking.
or NGO? Well, let me give this about government. What about government handles? Social media handles they clout chase,
they pretend that they've done this.
Sometimes I blame the handlers. Look at the recent debacle with the Nigerian immigration service.
Ouch, yeah, that one really hurts.
That video was
wait, what happened? I missed this.
Okay, so there was a video that they put on the website, like an infomercial, telling people about the visa on arrival policy, and it was an animated video with a very horrible voiceover, and so everybody
Why did they not bring it to smooth so we can help?
Do you understand? So people, of course, were talking about how, I mean, this is a good video, but this voiceover person, the person was saying nationals.
National who?
nationals. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
And so the Twitter handle of the Immigration Service responded by saying the video is not from us. That's not us. Like, excuse me, it's I don't even.
It's very Niger. It's not me.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. It's not me.
Like, it is right there on your website, and then you deny it so blatantly.
It's the same thing with individuals clout chasing. I mean, you whatever you're going to deny, just make sure it doesn't make you look worse than you really started.
Exactly.
Whatever you're going to put out there. I mean, there are people who have seen very word puns from very smart, intelligent. Like, wow, that's good. Like, maybe something going viral, just throwing like, boom, like, ooh, that comment. That so people say things like, wow, you just won. You've won, or something like that.
Yeah.
You won in Twitter for today, or the internet. You won the internet for today, something like that. Make it something. I mean, not everybody will begin to be a word porn artist and there's anything like that. So, but again, whatever you're going to do, just at the end of the day, make sure it's not something that's going to embarrass you a few years from now. Because look, that internet never forgets stuff.
Never.
It's real.
Do it with your chest.
It is real.
You don't want your grandchildren pulling it up on their eyes, because you know the internet will be on their eyes. It'll be like, Grandma, did you do this?
It could be acceptable now. It doesn't mean that in a few years' time. There was a time people would make homophobic jokes and nobody would raise an eyebrow. There was a time people were fat shaming people. But times change and people.
They always get a little more stringent.
Yeah. So some of us are still going to get in trouble.
There are people who have said they had what they didn't have, and at the end of the day, there was a demand placed on them from what they said they had. And if they actually didn't have it, then they had to come 360 and say, you know what?
Actually,
what had happened was
we're like, okay,
softly.
I mean, you people are taking it serious. What's wrong with you? Wow, look at that. Time flies when you're having great discussion here. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for coming in this evening. Chidi, Frank Donga, I'm going to find you guys, tag you, and do some clout chasing of myself.
Cool.
No
Yeah.
How on social media? Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I'm like the clout. I'd be scared. I'll discuss my things off air. But yes, make sure you guys follow us on Smooth 981 FM. You can catch this entire thing on our Twitter page at Smooth 981 FM.
All right.
Okay. Falao, we're leaving.
Yes, at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, the football guys will be in the studio for Total Football. So Hawa and I will. No, Hawa is.
Actually, Falao is gonna miss me all week.
Yeah, I will miss you all week.
I'm actually gonna miss you.
Girl is going.
She's going on a longer break.
She's going.
I have to do Dirty January.
January is starting now because she
we worked
Dirty
all
December.
through.
So she's going for holiday.
Yeah, so we'll catch you guys. Don't go anywhere. It's still the Smooth Drive.